Hi, my name is Dee Roussel, also known as Deja, and today I am going to be doing a recent reads. I have about 7 or 8 books to talk about today, potentially 9, but I don't know. We'll see if I even talk about that one. But I believe all of these are going to be 4 stars and above as I'm talking through them. I might change my mind on the rating, but I believe all of them are pretty enjoyable reads. So let's go ahead and get into this video. The first 2 that I have are Death Note 3 and 4, and I'm still really enjoying this series. I think I will say that I enjoyed this one a little bit less than the other ones just because the introduction of the female character did not like that at all. She just gives me dumb blonde vibes, but as you're getting to know her a little bit more, she's not dumb like that. I wouldn't say she's as smart as the main character, Light, but I don't like how they portrayed her, and I also don't like what ended up happening with her character. But other than that, I'm still very much interested in the dynamic between the detective and this high schooler that is the bringer of death, or who has the ability to kill people that he knows the names of. So I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like something's going to come out of left field, and I don't think I'm ready for that, but I am still very much enjoying this series. So I think I'm going to give both of them 4 stars. The next one that I have was such a beautifully written paranormal romance, and this book is The Fall That Saved Us. I was not sure how I was going to feel about this. I was very excited to try it because I knew the writing was going to be amazing. I've heard nothing but great things about this author's writing, and I honestly this is the best written book that I think I've read all year. I don't know what it is about this author's prose, but I just kept getting immersed into the story and just really connecting with the characters, that I was just as a technical writer, this author is amazing. Now when you get into the actual story, I feel that is kind of where my enjoyment kept going up and down, because you're following this character, I forgot her name, but she is an angel, and she ends up leaving her, I don't want to say covenant because they're not witches, but her family. She ends up leaving her family to go live in the earth world. She has dealt with a lot of familial abuse, and so she's definitely dealing with a lot of heavy themes, I would say. And it's very interesting too because she's dealing with a lot of trauma, but I feel it's also she's dealing with religious trauma, because they are very tied to the angels, Gabriel and whatever the other Christian angels are. I believe they're Christian angels, I'm not sure, but her family is very tied to these angels, and she just doesn't really feel like she fits, and so that's why she left. Her family has also been dealing with these demons, just fighting them and all of that, and so there's this tension between the angels and demons, as always. Enter this one succubus who is a demon, and their relationship is very interesting to me. I will say that I liked how they bonded over the religious trauma, because the demons were fallen angels, and so I feel the author was really playing into that idea, and they connected by their religious trauma. But I also think that's where my problem comes in with the romance part of this, because I don't actually think that they built a romance. I think they connected to each other because of their religious trauma, and then everything in between that was just sexual chemistry. And while those things were great, I just didn't really get on board with them being together because they were bonded by the religious trauma. But like I said, this is still a very good book, and I would say check all the trigger warnings because it does have a lot to it. But I'm really interested in picking up more by this author because the writing was immaculate, and I just really liked her character work and how she really drew me in. So definitely I would give this a 4.5 star. The next one that I have is a contemporary romance, and this is The Replacements. This one, I have heard a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people love it, and while I enjoyed it, I wouldn't say that I loved it. I would say that the elements that I really enjoyed about this is just the pettiness of the male main character. There was one scene that I was just yes, you have to tell her ex husband, like just tell him off. And I really enjoyed that. But I also just really liked, I believe her name is Savannah, like she really did just want to like take care of her husband and stuff, and I just really like that she was very strong in that. And I just really like that the male main character was okay with that, because I feel like so many women, especially like Black women, they're trying to get away from being the stay-at-home wife or mother and all of that. Just like they don't want to be like a homemaker, which is perfectly fine, but I think it's also fine for women that want to stay at home as well. So I really enjoyed that representation. The spice was definitely great, and I really did enjoy seeing like their romance like being built with each other. There was like a scene where the main character is scared of like thunderstorms, and it just kept like kind of showing up in the way that like he would like show that he actually cares for her. So it wasn't just like spice, but it's just like little things like that was just like, oh yeah, they really are like bonding together. And now while I liked all of those elements, like I will say that I wasn't really like pulled in. Like there was like weeks that I would not pick this up because I was just like, I'm not very interested or being called back into it. And I think it's just because I didn't have that emotional connection to the story. Like I think it was fine as it was, but again, I feel like it was just one of those things that I was just like, it wasn't like pulling me in with that emotional romantic connection, because while it was there with like the little details of like the thunderstorm or the little things that she would do for him or the little things that he would do for her, I just feel like I still didn't get that extra I guess. I don't know how to describe it. I felt like these characters went together, but I also just didn't feel called to like want them together, if that makes sense. I don't know what it was, but it was still a fine read. I would give it maybe a 3.5 4-star rating. I'm not sure, but if I do give it 3.5, then I guess everything was not over a 4-star read in this one. So I don't know, we'll see. The next one was actually a very big surprise for me, and I ended up picking it up because I saw it at the library and I saw that the author had another book coming out, Dragon Fruit, and I was like, let me start with like this one because this one actually sounds interesting to me, and this way I can test her writing. This one is Isle of Blood and Stone, and I actually really enjoyed this. I feel like this is exactly what like YA could be. You're following these 3 characters, mainly just 1 or 2 of them because the other one, he doesn't really get like a perspective, but you're following these 2 characters who are in this like kingdom court. One of them is like the king, the other one is like the cousin to the king, I don't know what that would be, and then the other one is like a lord or something. But the king's older brothers, they ended up going missing, and it just put this like dark cast on the entire kingdom. But then like years later, as he's king and all of that, they get like this like hint that his brothers were taken and they weren't killed, and so now they're on this like journey to figure out like what happened to the princes. And I found this story like very interesting. There were definitely some parts that I was just like, this is kind of dragging a little bit, and I don't really know like why this is being included, but overall like I really did enjoy the story. I really enjoyed like the character dynamics, like they're all friends with each other, and there's just like a little bit of a romance between the lord and the king's cousin that I really enjoyed with them. And one thing about like YA fantasy books that I didn't really like and that I'm starting to outgrow is that like most of them really do focus on that romance, and like the politics isn't really that great, or like the world isn't that great. But I feel like this was a well realized world and the politics were amazing. Like you're having these kids in these like adult situations, but the adults are still there. Like these adults are still like advising like these kids and stuff, even though they are in like positions of power and stuff like that. So I feel like this is how I would want to have like a YA fantasy, because I don't want the adults to just be gone and then the kids do everything. Like I still want the adults to be there, because adults are still in most teens' lives. So I like that they had like advisors and stuff like that for these kids, but they were still having their own agency to go do things. But like I said, like I really enjoyed just being in this world and being immersed in the world. I thought it was very intriguing, and there is a next book in this series that follows one of the little girls that's in this one, so it's kind of like a companion novel. I have it checked out from the library right now because I really did enjoy this one, and I would give this one 4.25 stars. The next one that I have is Confetti Realms. This one was a graphic novel by a Palestinian author. I wanted to try to get one of those for Asian American History Month because of everything going on in Palestine, Sudan, and Congo. I wanted to pick up something by a Palestinian author to show my support for the people of Palestine. I'm trying to do other things as well, but it has just been like so difficult to just see that this is still going on in so many other countries that it just feels very tone deaf. So I'm glad that I could pick up Confetti Realms and just get kind of joy from a Palestinian author. And I don't know if this one was the right one to pick up for Palestinian joy, because this one is actually kind of heavy. You're following 4 friends who end up actually going to this graveyard, and they end up in this other realm. This realm, they have to find like teeth, and as they're finding teeth, they kind of go on this like emotional character journey for themselves. 2 of the characters have this like tension between them. Well, I guess all 4 of the characters have tension between them, but 2 of them have like a history with each other, and there's like a tension between them that like they're not friends anymore. So while they're trying to find these like teeth in order to get back home, they are dealing with like all the aftermath of what happened between them, and then these other 2 characters are trying to deal with their emotions for each other. And it was just a very interesting read. I think once they got into this new realm, like the actual plot ended up like going away, and it did end up becoming more of like a character focus. And I have to say, I'm not mad that the plot ended up going away, because the character journey of these teens was actually like pretty good. I felt a very strong connection to a lot of them, and I just really liked how all the other characters in this world just kind of like guided them. And I still don't know how I feel about the ending of the story, but I don't know. I still overall really liked it, and I would recommend it if you are looking for more Palestinian authors to support. The next one that I have is Sistah Samurai, and this one I read because Black Prose Club was doing a read along with it, and while I didn't join any of those lives, I was trying to. Something always came up that I couldn't join live, but I still wanted to read the book. So I ended up reading this book, and I really enjoyed it. I think the ending was very, very sad, and it put a new light on like what I was thinking of the story, because at first I wasn't really like super called into it. Going into this, I knew Afro Samurai and just like anime in general, I am not very into. It's like the style that I'm not into. So I knew going into Sistah Samurai that this could be very hit or miss for me, because I don't really like anime and I don't like Afro Samurai. But like I said, the ending really put a new perspective on it for me, because in the beginning I really liked the character's voice. Like she was just pretty much like, don't bother me or anything like that, but then she ends up getting herself involved in like this chaos that's happening in this town. And I will say, once like that action really started, I did not like the story as much. I just felt like it was going a little too fast, and then like it had like a shift in the story that I was just very confused about. Like there's like some kind of like shadow or something that is like haunting her that I was just very confused about, and it didn't seem to go with like the earlier parts of the story, so it just felt like a drastic shift. But overall, I still really enjoyed it, especially because this character is going through like trying to heal and just remembering her lost sisters. And with the ending, it really put in a perspective for me, because the author ties it to our world today when it comes to like Black women. So I definitely respect that, and I would give this one 4 stars. And the next one that I have is The Chosen and the Beautiful. I picked this one up for Asian American History Month because I needed one more audiobook in order to finish out all the prompts, and I finished this right on time. So I read The Chosen and the Beautiful for 3 of the prompts for Asian Readathon, and this one I liked it, but honestly I think because I don't really like the source material at least that much, I was not that impressed with this. I think the author is a beautiful writer. I enjoyed following Jordan Baker, I believe this character's name is. I really enjoyed like the reimagining and inserting a Vietnamese woman into this kind of atmosphere. But I think because it follows pretty much like beat for beat like what happens in The Great Gatsby, I am not that impressed with it. Granted, because you have Jordan Baker's perspective, there's like a few extra things, but overall, like as I was getting to the ending, like things were just happening like the same that happened in the book, and I just was not that impressed. Like it really was a retelling from a different perspective. I still want to try other books by this author, but I don't think I should have started with this one. But I was hoping that this one would be great, so I think I would give this one like 3 stars. I'm gonna make this like the second one that I gave 3 stars, so I guess I don't have above 4 stars for this recent reads. But that wraps up all of the books that I read these last few months. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have read any of these books. I would love to know. And if you haven't read any of these books, I would definitely say try The Fall That Saved Us, Confetti Realms, and Isle of Bloodstone, because those are definitely my favorite out of all of the ones that I've read. But if you don't want to leave a comment like that, I would say leave an angel emoji for The Fall That Saved Us, or maybe a stone or a rock for the Isle of Blood and Stone, or I don't know what could fit for Confetti Realms. So just a stone or an angel for those books. But I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!